everybody, and welcome to another edition of Radio Redux. Myself, Kevin, is still here. We're all talking from the previous session about video games, board games, etc. that we found at the UK Games Expo.
Not very many video games. Mostly board
games. There was
games.
some video games there.
Was there?
Yeah.
But
they were sort of wood.
I mean, there were definitely video game-based board games, definitely.
But
yes,
yes, but Urtheart's here and ShadowFox is here.
Yeah.
and yes, we've got that coming up. So where were we?
We were just
we were in Birmingham, is where we were.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, though, we did have a Yu-Gi-Oh adventure while we were there.
Oh god!
Yeah.
So Konami were there in force actually to celebrate anniversary of the TCG trading card game. I believe that was one of the things they were there for. Was it 30th? So.
Couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
It was something like 30th.
It's been around for a while, so it's quite probable.
Indeed. But they were there. There was lots of branding and sponsorship around, as always with Konami and Yu-Gi-Oh. There was tables and a little section, not as big as it has been in previous years. I would also point out, but they had a section for people to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Get taught how to play by a pro.
Be taught how to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Be strapped to a chair and forced
and
to
banished to the Shadow Realm.
Forced to watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
But you do get a free deck for your troubles usually.
Yes,
past experiences.
But this time they had a scavenger hunt, and it was up to you to find. They had like a series of those big vertical banners, the
standy kind of things.
Yeah, those ones, the rolly ones. They had a series of those dotted around all the halls, and it was specifically 5 because it was up to you to find the 5 pieces of Exodia that was somewhere around here.
Yeah, first one was at their desk.
Yes,
which was
just the body of Exodia.
Wherever they actually had like a stool, they had like the head or something. I think.
Yes, it was the head. Yeah,
but. Yeah, so there was the head and torso.
So you always have a starting point.
But so the left arm and leg and the right arm and leg were scattered all over the goddamn place. And if you actually completed and got proof, there wasn't anybody there to like punch the. You had like a little A5 piece of paper with all the cards on. You got a stamp basically if you could prove that you've done that. So taking a photo, seeing the best bit, there wasn't anybody there at any of these banners to do that. But if you
there was one of them because it was behind someone else's stand.
Yes, there was. But if you got all of them, then you would get what was actually a really nice pin badge. It was like a really nice enamel pin badge of various Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I was slightly intrigued because it was just such a nice badge. So it's like we're going around anyway. Let's have a look.
Eyes peeled for Exodia.
And as the day progressed, I got more and more obsessed with finding these goddamn bits of Exodia.
We gave it a good college try.
We did give it a good college try.
Was it one shy, wasn't it?
We were one shy, and we actually spoke to people that knew where it was because we got the 2 legs first.
Yeah.
And then we came across somebody, we was all waiting and passing, and we saw their card, and they had the 2 arms. So if we'd have only collaborated, but one of them was in like some random booth.
Yeah, for a company that like lets you print your own card mats and stuff.
Yeah, it was nothing to do with Konami, Yu-Gi-Oh or anything. It was just that they were clearly getting really cheesed off already.
Yeah,
they seemed really pissed off actually when we were like, aha, like yes, the bloody thing. Like, okay.
Look at our stuff.
We did. We didn't like any of it. That was
I did get their thing to see if I can print my own card mat because
oh dear,
I have artwork.
Yeah.
Yes, but we end up we were one shy We couldn't find the left arm or something. One of them was also by one of the entrances, but it was
that was the first one we found.
It was next to a bunch of other stuff as well, and because it was the entrance, a lot of people standing in front of it, so nobody was really noticing it. I did point a few people in that direction actually, just because I was feeling generous. But they
weren't taking your badge.
The greatest joy of the whole thing was just me talking to a member of Konami's executives, and he said something along the lines of yes, you could be like, you get to be the Pharaoh, and I just turned to him and said, oh, I've already been that for your company. And it's just like, no, when you had the Facebook game a long time ago, I was the admin, and the admin was canonically actually the Pharaoh. So I've already voiced your character. So we've all done that. And I sort of like tapped him on the arm, like, there you go. And I turned away from him, and he was so confused. Like, he's been given like forbidden knowledge. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, I've already voiced your character for your brand. I've already been official voice actor or actor for your character. It was like, hey, what? I just didn't explain it further. I just walked off. Oh dear. And we went past there again. As we were going round, and he clocked me, and he just kept staring at me like with
trying to figure out. Hang on,
with a look. Who are you? Yeah, with a look of trying to figure out if I was actually somebody of importance. You know? It just left the poor sod so confused. And it was even worse because I don't think English was his first language either. So he spoke English, but it was like yeah,
the European team is.
But who is this? Who is this guy? It's just like.
He was just someone they hired to man the booth. He doesn't even work.
Because I spoke to one of the other guys on the booth, and because I know a few people that work in Konami, in the UK office, and he knew the name, so he must have been an employee for the company.
Oh dear.
But yes, what are the other things that stood out? I know we found quite a nice place where we did buy a couple of things. We bought a couple of Has-Been Hotel fan lanyards, was it?
Actually, it was Hell of a Boss. It was Hell of a Boss.
Oh yes, Hell of a Boss.
I have it here, actually. I have it here. It was like a really nice... It's very different. I don't care if it's the same location. By the same art and the same style. One of those series I really care about. The other I don't give a damn. And apparently I'm doing it the wrong way round. But screw what you guys think. Sorry, I much prefer Hell of a Boss, and Has-Been just never grabbed me ever.
I imagine. Well, I'll say hopefully the next season they can iron out their flaws. Now they've got 4 seasons planned?
They've got plenty of time.
Yeah, they've got. I think that was the problem. They didn't have time. Now they've got time. So,
but yeah,
let's see if they might swing you.
Oh, but never mind that. Never mind that. What about the relationship with this owl prince over in Hell of a Boss?
Yeah,
they're all sad and miserable and broken. Do something, for God's sake! No, don't let Stoller sing again. Bloody hell! Bloody hell, Bryce! What more are you going to do to us? Please. We're sobbing on the floor. Just please stop singing. We love it so, but you're so sad all the time. Oh. Bring back the genie from Broadway's Aladdin, sort of singing about sex. That's what we need. Bring Osmodius back singing. Anyway, that was that.
So yes, that was one of the stands. One of the other stands, we bought a nice little wooden dragon toy for our good friend Sif.
Was it wooden, or was it wooden, or was it?
I thought it was 3D printed and then.
No,
although you think you got a different one. You got a different one. Yeah, there were.
Yeah.
Yours was slightly more
nicer,
stable, shall we say?
Yeah.
Let's just say like the prevalence of 3D printers means there's a lot of copy and pasting of merchandise at stores now.
You too can get this artifact that you can get at any of the free stores next to us.
But no, we purposely looked for the one that looked the nicest, and it was quite nice. And there was another store ShadowFox bought an RPG.
I bought a.
This is coming to LMC Cast or somewhere soon.
It's either be an LMC Cast or it might even be because Discord now has Roll20 interaction.
This is true.
Directly. So it could be a stream, also LMC Cast or whatever. It could be a multi-thing. But it's called One Honk Before Midnight. A goose-based TTRPG system and adventure by Jack Dixon.
Goose. Someone tie Skyblaze down before they get too excited. The other members of the Goose cult from LMC's stream. No, we saw this and just went,
yep.
One of us has to buy this. And I think ShadowFox blinked first, is what we...
Essentially, yeah. I figured I might as well get something to remember this journey by, and it's something that we can hopefully all enjoy at some point in the future. It's a very short book. It's only...
I think it's meant for
it's like a one session. It's a one-shot session thing, isn't it?
It's not meant... It's 28 pages or 29. It's not designed for a... let's say a sprawling epic, but it's a lighter based thing that looks more fun.
Didn't you get a second one as well?
No, there was a second one there, but I don't...
there are several.
Yeah, so this is the base version, which I think we'll start off easy.
We'll start with that. I do. After we've had a go, I think we should actually give it to the Goose Cult to see.
Yeah,
what they do.
Do a session with the Goose Cult.
Do a session with the Goose Cult, because I know most of them would very much appreciate.
They would jump at it, yeah. So there's a lot of like when you go to this convention, I like looking at the board games, but then they do have all these like tabletop games, and it's like you really can't look at them and get a full understanding of them unless it says they're based on like a previous system that you know.
Well, you say that, we found one that we quite like the look of, that I did actually buy just as we were leaving.
Which one was that?
Which one was...
Death by Coconuts.
Ah.
So it's
yes, that. No, yeah. we started. There was just random demonstration bits all over the place, weren't we? We started having a go at it.
Yeah,
but that's what I mean. That's a nice that's a board game, not a tabletop RPG. Like you can look at that and you can look at that and you can go, I understand this.
Yes,
I can buy this. But it's like there was like a Mass Effect and a Fallout like board like tabletop RPG system, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can't spend 5 minutes to understand this.
We also dragged you over to the Eve.
The Eve one, yeah.
It was like
I'm trying to.
That was very rude of us because we basically both me and Urtheart just went, let's try and get ShadowFox to spend all his money.
Well,
it wasn't out yet.
It wasn't even able to purchase.
It wasn't out
Apex Legends.
No, it was that the Eve
one.
The Eve one. Yeah, I did look at it and I was like, ooh, I was looking at all the ship. I was like, I know that ship. I had that one. I own one of those.
So in Death by Coconuts, guys, you were effectively given 3 different... I think it was 3 different
Should I pull out an example?
3 different scenarios, and you've got to pick the biggest number. So it could be like how many people died by coconuts in 1975. Let's say.
I think that one's worldwide on average per year. Well, should I run you through an example?
Within a geographical area, within a time frame, and then you've got to pick the biggest one. So let's have a go.
Let's have an example. Yeah. So your 3 options are: you have people who died from ice skating and skiing in the USA between 1999 and 2014. Tapeworms in the USA between 1990 and 2002. Or the 1972 Iran blizzard, ironically in Iran, February 1972.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. It's like the kind of thing, like you got to think, okay, are we talking hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands for each answer? And I almost kind of want to...
I don't know the answer, by the way.
Death by skiing and
by ice skating and skiing.
ice skating and skiing is
Yes.
Over the course of what was
you
it,
got
like
you
20
got
years?
you got to think like how many of those people have like gone out onto a pond or something and then gone through
Yeah.
Was that in the USA
15,
only?
15
sorry?
years.
How
Yeah,
many
USA
people
only.
have-
USA only 15
just
years.
USA.
Tapeworms is also just the USA, and that's
So you wouldn't think tapeworms because it's not really a sort of thing that humans
You
die
hear
from
about.
well, you say that.
so much, but it's so. But this is the thing: you discuss this and whether or not you.
Yeah. So what it is
overthink
on the
it a
actual
lot.
on the actual board game, what you do is everyone has 3 poker chips, and you vote on which answer you think is the highest, and you move based on how many chips you've put down to bet. If you get it right, you move forward on the board by the amount of chips. If you get it wrong, you move backwards by the amount of chips.
And you can hedge your bets by putting on multiple, can't you?
I mean, there's no point because then if you put one on one and one on another, you just negate it out if one of them's right. You go forward one, backwards one.
Well, I mean that way. Yeah, but if you're like 2 on one and 1 on
It's,
another, if you get it wrong, you only go
it's
back
the
one
$1
versus 2.
million drop, £1 million drop style of play. In that you lose what you lose, but you gain what you save. And
Yeah.
Okay, so I would guess
And what was the last one? It was a blizzard in
Blizzard
Iran. was it?
Iran.
1972 Iran blizzard.
72 Iran blizzard.
I mean, I'm guessing by the very specific nature of it, that's a blizzard in Iran has happened once in like a century.
Certainly, it was significant enough to be the blizzard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a thing like where we did this at the convention. We flipped over one of the cards, and it was like 3.
Yeah.
3 people have died from this, and it's like, oh, so it really isn't. Like, it sounds like it could be a very relevant, important event, and the actual answer is like,
Oh,
nothing, really.
I've got a good example for that, which is people who died of segways. And it's like a
Worldwide?
10-year period. Worldwide, over a 10-year period.
like 3.
So interestingly, when I played this with my work colleagues, someone was like, "Oh, I know at least one guy that died," and mentioned
least
a
one.
famous incident. So
He told me about it.
Yeah.
and the answer was 1. The one person he knew who died from a Segway.
Dang.
But because that was one of those situations. It was the same thing that because George W. Bush did this.
Yeah.
Do you remember this when this happened? It was obviously a while ago now because it was when he was still president.
True.
But George W. Bush managed to fall off the Segway, which
Yeah.
the gyroscopically controlled Segway, fell face first and cut up his face and everything, and and smashed his brother. And he did this by a very simple method. He didn't turn it on. he didn't turn it on.
So he leant forward and it
the
didn't
entire
go.
thing just keeled over because he just let his weight forward and then just kept going. So yes, he's one of the few people who got been seriously injured by a Segway. It was George W. Bush. Of course, he didn't die because otherwise it would be 2.
It would be 2.
Yeah.
So what of our answers do we think is the winner then?
So I think tapeworms is low, and I feel like the blizzard is almost kind of there to throw us off. I think it might be ice skating, but I still think I think they're all going to be low numbers. I think they're all going to be like.
I think tapeworms is going to be higher than you think.
Really?
Yeah, that's my guess.
I mean, it depends whether it's like direct or indirect.
The thing is, like, I think they're
yeah.
all supposed to have like some study behind them you can look up. So-
I'm wondering if like this was out on like the Iranian desert or something, and everyone got, which is cold as it is anyway,
Yeah.
and like a whole bunch of people out there just got completely caught out and what have you. I'm gonna go with the Iranian blizzard, the famous Iranian blizzard that they still talk about today, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's see where we go. Ice skating and skiing is 1,139.
Okay.
Tapeworms is now 221. I lose.
No.
Okay.
The Iran blizzard is 4,000 estimates.
Okay.
So Kev wins that one.
So yeah, Kev,
Excellent. I win.
Well done.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Their suffering made you win.
I brought this into work, and they loved it so much. We now have a work copy.
It is just a simple thing that it's basically like tragedy
Simple
top
concepts.
trumps.
Yeah.
It's
Essentially.
The best games, I think, that like the most replayable games are ones that are very simple and just like you can bash out a couple of rounds of that just randomly as trivia.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how we've been playing it at work.
and they had a lot of add-on packs.
They've got 4, I think.
You just add new
cards,
new cards and new parameters.
And I think they're only like a $5 to a $10 each. So
absolutely.
So yeah, that's actually one of the purchases I made, and very happy with it. So let me just double check who that's by. It is by. Why is your company name not on here? Bubblegum Stuff.
Hey.
So thank you, Bubblegum Stuff. That was, and you know, we were just playing around with it, and the guy came up and was like, "Oh yeah, do you want me to teach you how to play it? Because it looks like you're already having fun with it."
No,
good. And he was fine with it. He was just like, "Sure, that's all good by me."
So,
and then you bought a pack, and it was like fantastic.
Well, this is the thing. We didn't buy it straight away. I came back at the end of the day to buy it as we were leaving.
I think that's like common practice at these places, though. Is like you go around you scout out, and then
depends
you go, right.
what you go in there. Certainly, a couple of years I've gone there with a request from a friend who's gone, "If you see this, buy it immediately, and I will give you the money back."
Yeah.
So
was that just Azul though? Whatever it's called.
That was Azul the first year it came out,
Yes.
and there was another one.
That was
which
also
I couldn't
Azul,
find.
wasn't it?
No,
I swear you had multiple copies of Azul to buy at one point.
I did on 1 year. The other one was the original version of Fireball Island, but I didn't find that one because that one's very rare. But he gave me the money in advance for that one because that could have been somewhere like 150 quid was the max he was willing to spend on it.
Damn.
It's a rare game.
Some of these board games, they are. I mean, just because lots of little pieces or rarity, they add up surprisingly quickly sometimes.
There is a board attached to this, by the way, guys. It's not just you collect points. There's like an island you have to go around.
Yeah.
In order to do this. It's if you're interested, the base game is $24.95, and that's pounds available.
Although at the event it was only 20 quid.
Indeed, and the expansion packs are as follows, and these are all like $5.95, which is not bad,
No.
Movie deaths, dark deaths, and true crime. Crime.
I'll say.
Okay.
Remember, if movie death comes up, it's always Sean Bean, always.
Well, no, because there's a couple
ones.
of movie deaths already in the base game, and there's stuff like how many people did Jaws kill? How many people died in all the Harry Potter movies?
7.
The one we had yesterday. How many people have died in all of the animated Disney movies?
And what percentage were parents?
Are we talking on-screen deaths, or are we talking?
I'm not entirely sure, but I
How
will
many
say
people did Frollo kill? That's quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, even with the Disney one, how many people did Mulan kill by causing an avalanche on the Hun army?
Oh God!
Yeah.
Considering that's an army and like 6 people survived.
And I'm pretty sure that I will tell you the number was surprisingly high. Unfortunately, it was going against Chairman Mao.
No.
Which
the famous Disney character. well known. I personally loved his song when we got that. Chairman Mao's villain song, absolute classic. Won't hear a word said against it.
Was that just Disney or Pixar Disney? Because we also kind of have a lot of other things there.
Oh, God.
What are all the dead people in like Coco? They didn't. They were already dead.
Well,
so they didn't die.
the cutoff was 2020. I will say that.
Yeah. Also, but most of those are natural causes. Now, is it like death by natural causes? Well, anyone that's, for the most part, the vast majority is natural causes, unless there was extenuating circumstances like war or famine or disease. If it's not one of those three, it's not going to be, well, they fell off a paddle boat and got...
accidentally run over by Prince Charming's sword.
Run over by Prince Charming's sword?
God.
What was he doing? What was his sword driving a car for? That is really weird. Did Prince
The
Charming
fairy godmother, she's at it again.
Oh,
no, was
God, no.
Stabbed in the steering wheel to help move it. There you go.
I'm just going to leave my sword on the driver's seat, which then slips off onto the accelerator. Oh no!
You know those
The
wheel
accelerator
spikes.
of the horse.
Well, if it slips off the saddle and then into the accelerator, it just impales the horse. The horse disappears off into the distance. Oh dear. Right, I think at this. Anyway, guys, that's the end of this part of what we were discussing. So we're going to throw you over to yet more Urtheart and Skyblaze and Greyfore, discussing bits related to Pokemon and why they still haven't mentioned Ekans yet. I'm still very upset with them. But I'm sure our lovely Snake Boy will be up soon. Won't they, Urtheart?
I'm pretty sure we do mention him at some point.
You'd better.
Not soon enough.
Well, you have to build the anticipation for the best boy.
Like Guile's theme, we go with anything. But you'll need to sign a waiver first. You're listening to Radio Redux.
So how is it looking score-wise for you after the DLC?
It goes down.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the problem is, no other game has really done proper DLC other than Sword and Shield, and it follows the exact same format as Sword and Shield.
So DLC for Sword and Shield was just such a nothing burger.
See, oddly enough, I'm going to say the sword. I agree, with one major exception, which almost made the DLC entirely worth it for me.
Go on.
And that's the Max Raid dungeon. Now that
I don't think I did it.
So it's in the second DLC, and it's quite early on. But the whole point of it is, it's a multiplayer dungeon. So ideally, you want friends to do it with. You can.
Oh, I don't think I. Well, I still don't have Switch Online, so
that's
we didn't have it at the time.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Me and my friends did it, and the fact that it basically was like, hey, at the end of this, you can catch a legendary or Ultra Beast or some mythical Pokemon, of which was like, this allows me to catch a load of the missing ones that I've never been able to get. And it was great. But what really specialised it was like, oh, and there is a much higher chance of everything in this dungeon being shiny, including the legendaries.
Yeah, I think that was... Yeah, I remember this now, and I was, like, really excited for it until I realised that it was something you had to do online, and I was like, ah.
You can do it solo, but you'll have to do it with NPC players, or you do it local co-op, because that does work as well.
But it was, like...
But yeah,
I'd really liked it. I have this thing where it's like, I could do this solo, but it's clearly designed to be done with your friends, and there's just... Doing it alone strips most of the joy out of it for me.
I would agree with that. And to be fair, I've only really done it with friends because we've all benefited from it. But the thing is, that was the big thing for me for Sword and Shield. Some of the other bits of it were nice. I quite liked the Garlean birds and some of the other side quests to get some legendary stuff. And I actually think the storyline in the second one was alright. The storyline in the first expansion was a bit of a nothing burger. Now, the one thing is, I felt like originally with Scarlet and Violet that it added less Pokemon than Sword and Shield. I was wrong. Scarlet and Violet adds more Pokemon than the Sword and Shield DLC did. But it is almost entirely legendaries.
Fair enough.
There are about 5 new non-legendary Pokemon. Do you mind if I spoil the non-legendary ones? Or
go for
ahead.
it.
So, there's as I say Paldean, it's technically the new region, Katakami, but a different variation of the Sinistea line.
Oh, yes, I remember
yes,
seeing the
I've seen
little trailer
this.
thing for that. I quite like the look of those ones.
Yeah, it's a cool Pokemon. The only thing that's confusing is they've swapped the evolution around.
Yeah.
Which is like, why? But it's an interesting Pokemon. And then they added a new evolution for Applin, which was a candy apple, which was a novel idea.
This feels like a Halloween release Pokemon doing a candy apple for some reason, mate.
But, they were nice Pokemon. And then all of the other 5 that were released, 4 of them were legendary, and one of them was like a legendary variant of a Hisuian Pokemon.
Which one was
that? You can only catch 1 per game, and you can't transfer back to Hisui. And it's just like, okay, why? Now, your reward for it was also a Hisuian Growlithe, which was quite nice. And the person you get the quest from is an obvious descendant from at least one of the people in Legends Arceus, which is kind of a cool tie-back. The weird part is that person appears in both DLCs, but her main quest is in the first one, and the second one is just more of a, hey, I'm here now because you completed the previous quest. Once you've collected most of the Pokedex for this second region, I'll give you the photos to unlock 2 of the other legendaries in your version. The second expansion adds only 2 more non-legendaries. It adds evolution for Duraludon from Sword and Shield.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's now based on the San Francisco Bridge rather than the Shard.
Okay.
Sure. But then, interestingly, the other Pokemon is an evolution of the new Diplin.
Okay.
So it's the only Applin variation that evolves twice.
Huh.
Cool.
But, admittedly, it's an interesting evolution because it evolves into a Hydra.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The only thing that bothers me slightly about it is, why couldn't we have evolved it in the last one? And the only reason is because they don't introduce the TM that you need to use to evolve it until the second expansion. You do get one automatically for doing the story, so it's not so bad.
But you have to do the story to get it anyway.
Yeah. And then there's 4 legendaries in the first expansion, 3 legendaries, I think. No, well, there's technically 5, but you could only catch 3 of them, because 2 of them are version exclusives in both.
Oh, of course.
Yes, and then there's also one version exclusive that's Terra Raid exclusive and timed. And I'm going to tell you now, you've both ran out. So,
yeah.
Because they're based on one of the legendary trios from another game.
So for a lot of them, I still don't have Switch Online, so...
And while you can do... The thing is that you can do them offline, but the
NPCs are crap.
Yes. And loads of people have tried to do solo strategies. And for most games, you can, but it's a lot of investment. There was only one that you could... you had to be super lucky to do solo, and that was the Mewtwo one. And that is because you had to use a specific Pokemon, and it was expected you'd have 4 of them. And even then, people spent, hours on release trying to find strategies ASAP.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of patience.
No.
And
I have too many games to play.
Yeah. I mean, I basically waited for people to make strategies and either copied them or went, sod it, I'm taking Rotom, because Rotom is my MVP for all of those raids.
If in doubt, he'll copy anything. It'll be fine.
Actually, the interesting thing is, I never took him as an attacking character. He always came as support, so he would quarter the damage from most opponents with various moves. And it meant that everyone else survived longer, so they were like, okay, now we can just focus on murdering it. Rather than having to heal ourselves and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Rotom's been my MVP for this game. But yeah, the legendaries are nice and fine. But the problem with focusing on legendaries has always been kind of the fact that they're, nice, powerful Pokemon. What use do I have outside of catching them? They're cool Pokemon, but that's about it.
Because by the time you've got them, it's like, oh, I finished the game.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the only other big thing from LMC's point of view is the DLC for this game did add Ekans. Sword and Shield did not, so you cannot use Ekans in Sword and Shield. And yeah, so in general, the DLC has been a bit disappointing because it doesn't really add anything. The other thing is, yes, you can catch a load of other legendaries in this by doing this multiplayer quests, but they're all shiny locked. So it's like, well, I've already got them all, so why do I need to try bother catching them again? So from a collector's point of view, this is worse than buying the DLC for Sword and Shield. And we're going back to Sword and Shield more than we're going back to Scarlet and Violet now with my other group of friends.
Which is... really, I suppose,
that's a bit depressing, yeah.
Very depressing.
Yeah, but it's because that max rate dungeon is so much better for content. So yes, I think we're going to end up with just some little fun bits here and there. I've asked these two to put together some of their top picks for stuff. So, shall we just go for quickfire, or do you want to explain your choices?
We might have time to explain the choices, so let Skyblaze go first for theirs.
Alright.
Okay. Well, we'll do them in order. Fave Pokemon.
Fave Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet is Sprigatito.
Yep. Fair.
Favorite Pokemon of all time is probably Rowlet.
Interesting. The cute ones then.
Yes.
More or less.
My entire thing about having a team is mostly based on aesthetics. This is why I get my ass handed to me so often.
It's like, yeah, you might have kicked my ass, but at least my Pokemon look cute, right?
I'd be one of those trainers who say exactly that, standing on one of the low-level routes.
So yeah, sort of like split between sort of from Scarlet and Violet and all time. So for Scarlet and Violet, it's Tatsugiri, the little sort of, because I just think it's hilarious and kind of cute, and especially because they come in 3 different varieties.
Sushi Pokemon.
Yeah. So
he was delighted when he found them. He was like, "What is that? Is that a sushi? I must have it." No, and then I found out it comes in several varieties, and you're like, "Right, getting all of those."
Yeah, it's one of the things. It's like, okay, capture it. It's like, what the hell's this thing? And it's like near where the false dragon titan is. Yeah. And it's like, okay, grab it, and it's like comes up, and it's like droopy form, and it's like, okay, bit unfortunate in terms of the name. And it's like, it's mimicry Pokemon. It looks effectively like a sushi, and it's like, okay, so I've named the ones I've caught after forms of sushi, because why wouldn't I? And it's like, okay, it says it's a different form, so that means there are different versions. It's like, okay, Skyblaze, can you look them up? And it's like, yeah, there's 3. There's a yellow, an orange, and a red. It's like, okay, I'm going to find these. And in terms of sort of all time, I like my hedgehogs because I think they're very cute, just in terms of being very cute animals. But for me, it's Togedemaru.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
Just because it's a cute round ball, and I also happen to have a plushie version of him as well.
You do, yes.
Oh, wow. My favourite from Scarlet Violet, I'd like to say Koraidon, but I feel like that's a bit cheaty. So I'm actually going to go with Tinkaton. I like mischievous hammer-wielding little shit.
Yep.
And actually, it's quite a good Pokemon type-wise as well. Fairy Steel is a really interesting one.
Because it sort of balances itself out.
Yeah. Of all time, my favourite's actually Leafeon, but that's because I have a very specific Leafeon who helped me prove someone was cheating on a tournament.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
And survived a fire blast to the face.
Oof.
Which helped me take down one of his Pokemon to prove that his second Pokemon was a clone that had also used cheating and hacking to get it to where it was. So that Leafeon is still with me, and I always imagine he's just very, very burnt. Favourite shiny Pokemon if you have one?
I'm torn between Ponyta and Pumpkaboo.
Both good choices.
Ponyta has the really awesome blue flames, which is just really cool. And Pumpkaboo is the goth pumpkin. It is black and purple and goth. I love it to bits.
Shiny Ponyta's easy to get now, because you guaranteed one in Legends Arceus.
Ooh. Well, I'll have to get to that point, isn't it?
There is a mission where you have to catch one, so it auto-spawns one for you.
Ah, nice. For me, because we just pulled up the list of shiny versions of the Pokemon, just to have a look through, see which ones I like the look of. First off the list was straight away Charizard, just because.
Yes, the Black Charizard.
Black Charizard. My second choice in that one was
Haxorus.
Haxorus.
That's a good one as well. It's another black one, though, isn't it?
It's another black one, yeah, basically. It's
so what you will notice is that both of these are black, red, and slightly spiky.
So I have a type.
Maybe. So we're waiting for the Shadow the Hedgehog Pokemon.
Yes.
Yep.
Actually, I might need to show you shiny Koraidon then, even though you technically can't get one yet.
Oh.
So again, mine is from a long history. My favourite shiny is Porygon Z.
Oh.
I love Porygon.
I've had one. I had a friend trade me one, a shiny one, and I've had that since Diamond and Pearl original.
Wow.
And it's come with me. And it's still one of my most powerful Pokemon.
Damn.
Then fave game.
This is a tricky one, but probably X and Y.
I think that's a good choice. X and Y is definitely up there.
Yeah, because I just really enjoyed the story. It gave me a solid reason to keep playing.
That's fair.
For me, it's going to be Pokemon Gold. So the version I had was Gold. Solely for the fact that it felt like you got 2 games for the price of one.
Yeah, because you had Johto and Kanto.
Exactly. So you'd finish one game, you'd go down the route, you'd beat the Elite Four, and it's like, okay, these guys actually seem to be in a very similar place to. Oh, holy! I can get access to these guys as well. And you got like a little bit of extra story in it, not massive amounts, but you got to sort of see how the different gym leaders had progressed in the time between what had passed for Red, Blue, and Yellow.
And then you had the final boss.
Yeah, and you got to fight Red.
So interestingly, though, original or remake?
I've not played the remake, so it's going to be the original.
Oh, really? So, interestingly, I'm also going with Gold, but I am going with the remake version.
Yeah.
Just because it is identical, but better.
The problem,
it adds a few little things.
We did actually go looking for some Pokemon games the other day, but they're either impossible to find or incredibly expensive, the older ones.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I actually don't have my copy of Heart Gold anymore because I lent it to my brother-in-law.
Although, considering we've got the INO slide on the Steam Deck, we can probably put emulators on them.
True.
And you could emulate it.
But yeah, to be fair to my brother-in-law, he didn't lose it. It was called, he had a child, and child maybe got their paws on it.
Oh, bugger, yeah.
That's fair play, that happens. I can't remember if I asked you any other questions, but here's a good side one. Your favourite NPC? If you can think of one. Or fave, like, right trainer you fought in the series, something like that.
I quite like Larry, because he's hilarious.
Yes.
What's her name? Who gives you a Lapras?
Yeah, which one?
Is it the Elite Four member, Lorna?
Yeah, that's her. I thought the name began with an L.
She's good.
Her style and just like the fact that she's like, yeah, I'll just give you this quite powerful Pokemon because I am completely unworried.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It doesn't threaten her because all our Pokemon are resistant to it.
Yep.
So.
I don't know, because it's one of these. Because I'm terrible at remembering names of characters. In terms of like my favourite kind.
Oh, you liked the goth chick from Sword and Shield, didn't you?
Marnie.
What's her name?
I'm trying to remember her name now. Yeah. Like
I remember you
multiple rivals.
When I was playing it, and you were like,
Marnie.
"Oh yeah, she's
Marnie.
cool."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite like the relationship between her and Piers as well.
Yeah, because it's like, here's me
Piers
being a
is
trainer.
just-
It turns out Piers is my brother, and he's
He's gym leader.
yeah. There's you've got a lot to live up to if you want to try and beat that sound. I said, but I don't want to be a gym leader.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I'm going to be the predictable one and go Cynthia, because I actually feel like she's one of the few champions who actually do something in their story. More so in Platinum than in previous one. But then she's so good, she appears in black and white to come and help you as well, if I remember rightly. Although, what's interesting is, most people peg her as one of the most powerful trainers, and they're almost right. Remember I told you about that Battle Royale thing they did?
Oh, yeah.
About AI? So, yeah, Cynthia was second.
Wow. Okay.
But, to be fair to her, she was beaten by someone who had average level Pokemon higher than hers, and was a former champion, and the longest reigning champion in the series. But he was a Sword and Shield DLC character. So you probably don't know who he is.
Okay.
Probably not.
But he is Pokemon Dojo Leader Mustard. That is his name.
That is one hell of a name.
So I was going to say he's a colonel.
Colonel Mustard.
I believe he's voiced by Pro ZD Sungwon as well. So, in the anime version.
Oh wow.
Dear.
So yes, I think we can call that a time there, unless there's anything you would both like to add, or you have any questions for me.
I mean, the one thing I'm hoping for, because obviously each different Pokemon world itself has been loosely based around a particular part of the world. So
Yeah.
obviously we've had a lot of different bits of Japan, we've had some France, Spain, England.
Well, the UK, Scotland
Well,
managed to get
the
in.
UK, Scotland got in, and we had the Isle of Man for the Shield, the
I
Isle
think
of
the
Armor,
first DLC, yeah.
the Crown. Yeah, I'm wanting them to try and tackle some of the more like Norse or Viking era, Viking areas for the next one.
Okay. I mean, the rumours about what they're doing next is... I don't know where people are getting these ideas from, but the current rumours are a Let's Go in the Johto region, which I wouldn't be against as long as they include Kanto as well. Or a Black and White remake called Black and White 3, which doesn't make any sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense. I would be in favour of a Black and White remake.
See, the only evidence people give is, the second DLC in Scarlet and Violet is all based in Unova.
So what?
Which is Black and White's region. It's like, that doesn't mean they're going to set the next
No,
game in that region.
It doesn't mean anything at all.
For me, that would say, well, that's less likely to then, because...
they've done it, yeah.
Do it again.
Although
it would be nice, because the Black and White story is really good, but...
So I don't remember much of Black and White story. The only thing I remember about Black and White is you can't catch any of the previous Pokemon until you've beaten the game.
Well, what would be nice if they did both Black and White and Black and White 2 together as a remake? That would be quite nice.
That would be helpful. I actually would prefer an X and Y remake, if I'm going to be honest. But they're going to go in order.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to go in order.
The problem is, I think with the poor reception that Diamond and Pearl got, we know that Nintendo are never working with that developer again. But it also makes me wonder, well, are they going to bother with more remakes? Or are they just going to keep going back to the more memorable games?
We'll just touch the ones that just got the most draw to...
Time's going to tell, I think.
Yeah. I suppose the other big question, though, is will terrestrialization stay? Or is that going to be a one-time gimmick like Gigantamaxing?
Yeah.
Hard to say. I mean, it's a good solution to bringing in more type combinations without completely breaking the game. But how complicated does it make developing future games? Nah.
Well, I can tell you now, it already makes one Pokemon that isn't in Scarlet and Violet invincible if you can choose its Terra type. Because if you give Shedinja... Oh, what was it? You could give Shedinja a type, I can't remember which one it is. Electric. So its only weakness is ground. And then give it the item that lets it float.
Oh, jeez.
It is then completely invincible. There's no way to beat it.
So yeah, I suspect it's probably going to, based upon that, I suspect it's probably going to remain a single generation gimmick.
You would have thought so, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
They might very well fine-tune it into something else.
Yeah.
Or there could be only a limited number of types that you can choose or something.
Yeah, because I will say one of the DLC legendaries, you cannot pick its Terra type. It's set based on the item it holds.
Oh.
That's interesting.
And I think one of the other legendaries has a Terra type that introduces the new Terra type for the DLC, and you can't change it off that Pokemon either.
Because it's one of the things, because we've had over the previous ones where they've been adding these sorts of gimmicks. You've got ones where it's been, if they have like Pikachuanium Z or whatever it is, then obviously that lets it do special moves. You've then got the Gigantamax things, you've now got the Terra typing itself.
You had Mega Evolution stuck around for 2 generations, but then it also was on top of the Z moves from Sun and Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what created the first problem, was Mega Evolution and Z moves together were just overpowered.
Broken!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they got rid of both of them for Sword and Shield, and you had Gigantamax, which kind of worked for every Pokemon, but was special for certain Pokemon. So then you've come to Terra type, where every Pokemon is technically equal.
Providing you've got the right Terra type for it.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you can, through the Terra fights, get the shards to change the Terra typing. So if you've got a Pokemon you like, but you want to change the type to it, you can eventually work towards getting that change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that becomes a lot easier going online, because the online fights give you like hundreds in one go. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they try and do next.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, most people aren't expecting Generation 10. It's usually every 3 years or another year off that, in theory. But who's to say they won't do an early Gen 10 if they've got nothing else?
Yeah.
It's oh no, we need more money to put in our giant money pit.
I do wonder if they're going to do anything more with the Legend series.
I'd really like. I really hope they do.
I do,
because it's a really interesting direction, and I think it brings some fresh ideas to the franchise.
Oddly enough, I think the one that they do need to do for Legends is the black and white area, because we need Legends. Because we've never seen Kyurem in its full form with Reshiram and the other one I can't remember the name of.
Zekrom. Zekrom, yeah.
Yeah. You can only do one or the other, but its full form is supposed to have both. And that's perfect for a Legends game.
Yeah. That could be interesting.
Because they'd send like work into the story as to why it is that you can only get one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think that's everything. My thanks to both Greyfore and Skyblaze for joining me for this one.
Thank you, Urtheart.
And always thank you for having us.
No worries.